What is good, everybody? Welcome back to an all-new TAETRO track review live stream. Can we get a sound of what's up? Thank you for hanging out with us here on a Saturday. Now, usually we do this second Saturday of every month. I'm going to try to still hold to that next month, but occasionally things just pop up. I forget what it was last week, but some things were just getting in the way, but nonetheless, here we are. I hopefully gave you some more time to submit music today, because of course we use these streams, these track review streams, to take the time to listen to music from members of the community over on Discord. And if you want to join that community, all you have to do is click that join button below the video, become a channel member at any tier. Then you go into Discord, you link your Discord to your YouTube to your Discord account, and suddenly you have access, and you can submit music, and you can just become a part of a cool community. Of course, if you become a VIP member right now, not only can you submit music and join the Discord, but you can also get the Sleepless sample pack for free. And there's my phone popping off. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. I see lots of friends in the chat. Let me shout some people out. What's up, Moon Goat? Shaheen J. What's up? Taylor Deemer. Nice to see you. Long time no see, Taylor Deemer. Callie Stealth. What's good? By the way to submit music is pinned to the top. You can also type, let me actually see if this works. ! Submit. I think I did this right. Submit. Let me see. Nightbot's taking a little break, I guess. Gives instructions, but please do not message in chat. Oh, hey, sorry, I'm not going to do all the things that you said to do to submit music, but here's my music anyway. Don't do that. SDK, what's good? Thank you for being a member. Look at that freaking moon colorway. Bishop, I saw as well. Hello, Bishop. Thank you for being here. Gary, Patrick, Essie, Erod. By the way, if you submitted your music on Discord, the instructions clearly state to write your YouTube username in your message. I don't care if your Discord name is the same as your YouTube username. Write your YouTube username in the message. If you haven't done that yet, you have the 5 seconds of me doing this intro to do that before I just straight up skip you. Maybe even the first person who submitted needs to go and do that. Billboard Shaw, what's up? Daniel, hello. BM85, Cableman, Jeremiah, Gil, or Jill, maybe? Hannah Shipman, what's up? From Lithuania, thank you so much for being a part of this community. We would love to have you be a more active member. Sasha, what's good? Thank you for being here. Suki, what's good? Thank you for inspiring me. Because of you, I will buy the Akai Mark III. Great. Amazing. Ed, hello. Naruto, we have Naruto in the chat. Naruto Idris. Wow. Kino, hello. Thanks for being here. Nice to see you. Taylor Deemer says, thinking of getting the V collection. Is it worth it if I already have Analog Lab? I don't understand the difference there. Suki, you're new to the channel. Welcome. I'm glad. Future is the background music. Thank you, Moongo. You're right. Rodney says, hey, TAETRO, you helped me get my journey started and going. Good to be here. Awesome. So yeah, I would love to listen to your music today. If you are a channel member, those people with cool badges next to their name are channel members. All you have to do, hit join, become a member, and submit via the Discord. We still have some submission time open. We usually do about 30 tracks in a day. Couple things at the top here. Well, not much at the top here. I guess I'd just like to use this opening time to start and talk about some stuff. But one thing I saw, our friend Tiffany, we know Tiffany, guitar player, right? Releasing a track on Chill Hop. We love to see it. A lot of successes in this community today. Last week lately, we were talking about Saikai last week, I believe, who had some major success getting playlisted and actually earning some meaningful income, which is really cool. So, people in this track submission thing, what's the deal? Where's your YouTube username? Where's the YouTube username? You have 5 seconds before I delete these posts. Where is the YouTube username? Oh, thank you, SDK, for writing your YouTube username. Thank you, Sub-Zero. Thank you, Dotkey. Thank you, Erod. Wow, people are following directions. I'm not crazy. So very simple, folks. Before you do anything on the internet, if there's instructions, make sure you read them. Oh, this is not my music, so let's move off of that. And we don't even need that to be open, actually. Feeling good, SDK. Obviously got this new kind of camera set up, so that's good. V Collection has a full version of all the instruments. I think that is a worthwhile collection to have. John Jill, long time no see. Thanks for being here. And Sly Stutter. What's up? Not new studio, but just new stream arrangement. My username is the same as my Discord. Now, to me, I don't know if the post says if the username is the same as your YouTube, you don't have to type in your message. I'm pretty sure it does not. So please type it in your message still. Because how am I supposed to wonder with every single post if it's the same or not? People making up their own rules. It's very easy, folks. All the thinking has been done for you. It's posted in the pinned message. Just do that. You don't even have to think about it. Daniel, trying to improve my ear, hoping to spot some neat stuff on y'all's tracks. Nice. Hopefully you watched my ear training video. Thanks, SDK. You're my favorite YouTuber, says Naruto Idris. Thank you so much. That's very nice of you. On Hell is here. All right, hello. I am going to be looking out for you all. If you did submit music, you need to be in the chat. If you're not here in the chat, I'm skipping you. We have too many people that are like here wanting their music to be reviewed for the people not to be here. That is, again, also listed at the top of the chat. But we don't have, this is in essence of time, and the fact that these always go kind of long. Why don't we get started and listen to some music, and hopefully you all can let me know if the air conditioner is too loud, because I forgot to turn it off before we started. But I'm going to do this and move my chat over here so I can read chat while the music is playing. And then we're going to just listen to Essie's music. This is Essie with Blue. Let's give a listen. Let me also know about the levels. First track of the day. Let's hope it's a good one. I love the album art. Piano's coming in a little crunchy. I assume that's intentional because it sounds like a bit crusher. Nice. Yeah, it seems like the whole bit crush thing is intentional. Did that just say coffee? There it is. I was gonna say, where's the bass? Moongoat says, beautiful piano voicings. I agree, the chords are nice. It's almost like a marching snare. All right, we're fading out here. This track could definitely be longer, Essie. I do like all of these elements. I have a couple points for feedback though, of course. So the first thing right away that caught my ear is it's like a bit crusher on the piano. Instead of making it sound lo-fi, what it ultimately ends up is it sounds like it's like peaking, like unintentionally. I try to avoid a lo-fi bit crushed sound that has that super high, crispy high end, because that's almost not the same thing as say if it was running through a tape machine or something. Like traditionally lo-fi has rolled off highs, so when you introduce some of that staticky level bit crushed sound, it sounds, I know it was intentional, but it makes it sound like there's something wrong with my headphones basically. So I would do a different approach for the lo-fi effect and not use a bit crusher. The thing about the piano is the chords are very nice, but mixing a piano tends to be a little more complicated because piano can be a very heavy instrument for a mix, especially like this where it has bass notes. So there's a bit too much low end in it probably. So what happens is it's clashing with the bass, because there is a bass here and I didn't even realize it. So I would make room for that in your EQ on the piano. Sometimes I go hard on people using too many quotes or something, but I think this was a good use, putting them here at the midpoint. And if you think about these drums, like if you listen closely, the kick and snare have a kind of rolled off high sound to them. And what you often want to do is have everything exist in kind of the same space. If you have some things that sound a little like intentionally muffled because it's lo-fi, and some things that are super bright, like that piano is still coming through super bright with the Rice Krispies on top, it doesn't make sense to the listener. Meanwhile, these leads are beautiful too. I'm just kind of confused at why it fades out there. Maybe it's a work in progress. But this is the start of what I think is a very good track. So Essie, thank you for that submission. As usual, folks, if you hear a track that you like today, or if you just want to support all the artists, go to their pages. Obviously, I'm opening up their pages right here. Click follow. And that's that. All right, up next. White Whisker, are you in the chat? I haven't seen you yet. I'm skipping you. Aljah, are you in the chat? I haven't seen you yet. I've definitely seen STK. White Whisker and Aljah, if you don't message me during the time we're listening to STK's track, I am skipping you for the day. A couple questions in the chat. What are some key elements in a track, according to you? To answer that question, all you got to do is think about a band, like a traditional rock band. Drummer, guitar player. Aljah, your YouTube name is not written in your message. Drummer, guitar player, bassist, singer. Like that's like boiling it down for a rock band, right? And those things take different roles. Obviously, the singer is the melody, the drummer is the rhythm, it's the drums. Those are easy to identify. The bass, that's also easy to identify, the rock bottom foundation of the harmony. and the guitar is sort of filling that void of doing chords, but can it also represent the chords as like melody through riffs and stuff. Like it can help guide the harmony by playing multiple notes at the same time, maybe not in chord fashion, but maybe in like a melodic pattern that implies a chord. So if you have those 4 things covered, those 4 important structural things covered, obviously not saying you have to have a rock drum kit and a guitar, etc., but those 4 core elements are very, very important. Snow Day by STK. I could go for a snow day. Some unreleased stuff, STK. I love that percussion. I want to just go buy a bunch of cool percussion instruments. Amelia, hello. What is that percussion, STK? Is it a sample? Nice. Is it your voice? Wooden chimes. Yeah, I love that sound. This art isn't giving snow day, if I'm being honest, but... Addie, hello, hello. SDK, great. Beautiful track here. I just want to say hello, thank you to everybody. I just looked at chat and I see like all member badges. So thank you. I know I'm hard on you all sometimes, but I hope you all know that it's tough love and that I want you to be the best creators that you can be. So if I come for you and like, why didn't you follow the directions in the Discord or something? It's because I want you to like go forward with opportunities beyond my community, and to do that, like, you just have to like be on your game. So I'm pushing you, not because I want to talk down to people, but because I want it to just be like understood that you guys are up against a lot of competition out there, and if you're on top of things, you that's how you succeed. All right, back to the track. STK, this is beautiful. I actually like the amount of time this takes to sort of breathe and develop, and it's a little bit different from your typical chill lo-fi track because it's not so simple as it just has a straight ahead backbeat that you're just nodding your head to the whole time. It's a little more subtle than that. It's a little more of a mood piece. The voice here is beautiful. Would love to hear more of that. And your mixing is fantastic too, obviously. That wooden percussion chime texture is beautiful. Man, I need those. Was trying a different format when it comes to arranging and the way it develops. Yes. the note that I was gonna have for you is about the arrangement. Now, I think this, in context of maybe an album or an EP or something, I think this track could really work as some type of interlude or something. This is very much giving interlude vibes. Because of the way things drift in and out. And in that context, I think it's great. If this track were just like kind of a standalone single, I would feel like it needs to give some of these elements more time to shine. But I guess it is sort of this subtle painting where everything is beautifully blending in and out of each other. And in that respect, I think the artwork makes a lot of sense. You have the blues and you have the oranges, and they're kind of weaving in and out of each other in a way that makes sense. Can you guys spam the word go in chat? Majesty Beats in the chat. Majesty, I just remembered, because you're in chat, that I have to text you back. I apologize for that. I'm glad you're there to remind me of that. It's been a busy week. Okay. I guess I did ask for that. Yeah, SDK, that's my only thought. I think it sounds like this beautiful interlude kind of thing, and I think it works in that context. And I can tell that you're experimenting with arrangement and having it be different. So in that respect, it actually is a little bit refreshing. It's not too much of a predictable, arrangement, which does contribute to it. And the texture, oh god, it's just beautiful. Good job, SDK. Thank you. Please go follow SDK. There's way more followers than that on SoundCloud, but also we have a community Spotify playlist that maybe some of you know about called Lo-Fi Loft, and you can hear some of SDK's music as well as other community members on here. SDK right there. I haven't looked at the Google form in a bit, so I'm not sure if there's tracks to add, but we'll see soon. All right, let's keep it rolling. Oh, Aljah, I see you there. What's up? Echoes by Aljah. Let's give it a listen. Sorry, that was way louder. Ah, that's a TAETRO sample if I ever heard one. I love it being pitched up like this. Cool. Whoa. All right, we don't have to do the goes anymore, Naruto. Unexpected direction. Cool technique. I'm unsure. Interesting. Is this like a key change or something, I think? All right, cool. Aljah, thank you for that submission. Cockney makes a very important point in chat. It says, is it me, or is every time I see a subscriber music reacting video from you, the tracks are getting better and better? I agree. All right, Aljah, cool track. I think I kind of know what you're going for, and bonus points for using a TAETRO sample, of course. Is this sample in Sleepless, or is it in the other track? Other pack. Okay, so what I think this is kind of supposed to be is a little bit of a Chainsmokers-y kind of EDM track with some trap elements. There are things that need to be adjusted to make that work. First things first, this guitar sample. Obviously, I love the guitar sample. I made the guitar sample. I love the use of it in the intro here. What it is it kind of has that mid-range frequency type sound that makes it sound like it's coming through an old radio. Very cool. But then when the beat drops here, it can't be EQ'd like that anymore. It has to be at a, it even has to be at a point where it's not dead center anymore, where it's out of the way, and it becomes part of the rest of the music instead of being like dead center in that old radio, old timey feel. So whether that's splitting it into two tracks and panning it left and right, so it's part of that, and then it's also adjusting the EQ so those mid-range frequencies are not accentuated here, because it doesn't fit with all the other clean sounds you have. And it does sound a little bit like a lot of the percussion is over compressed, and I'll show a part where that's very evident. Now this part is really, really exciting. Except for the fact that everything is being filtered in, except those drums are just in the exact same place they were here. They sound exactly the same here. Those drums can filter in with everything else too. Now, that gate effect there, that effect where it's like just cutting to silence in that rhythmic pattern, fantastic. Good job. I have a problem with this section, and I have a problem with it both times that it happens. First of all, your 808 is just sounding like muddy. And this section just sounds like a different song. Maybe it could work better if the lead instrument was different, but I don't agree with the sound selection there of the arpeggiated synth. That, to me, is like a sound, like certain tracks, I think just switching the sound and having better sound selection can improve it greatly, because some sound selection just gives off like some kind of amateur vibes. And I don't mean to call you an amateur by any means, but certain sounds, it's like, okay, have you heard this sound in a track you like before? Like, have you heard it used in this way in a track that you really admire? And it almost kind of becomes a trap beat here, but it's basically in a different key, or it's in the parallel minor or something, which it's not satisfying, because the whole point of this build up is to build up anticipation of what's to come, and then what comes is something that is not a resolution of what came before. Maybe there's a part for this as a bridge later, but as part of this thing that's supposed to be resolving at the end of this build-up, it doesn't satisfy me. Now, where's this part? Okay, listen very closely. If you have headphones, it's going to help a lot here, but listen to that snare. The way I can tell that these drums are way over compressed is if you're listening to that snare has reverb, it seems, printed on the sample. And it's like low rumbly reverb printed on the sample, and I can hear it very clearly. So if that low rumbly reverb is on that snare the whole time, that is very much causing problems in the mix, and is probably even contributing to some of that 808 sub stuff being a little bit muddy. So you got to pay attention to some of that. conceptually, this is not a half bad track. Like the concept of this track is good. There are just some choices that maybe need to be adjusted. The other thing contributing to this, me not loving this section, is there's no real like counter melody or anything. It's just this arpeggiated thing. And it's not that catchy. So if it's not that catchy and it's the only thing happening, there's nothing else grabbing my ears. There's no ear candy. So, all the things I said, that's my advice. And then my other advice is like listen to tracks that you're trying to model the sound of and just take very distinct notes about what you want to achieve and how you can achieve it in this track. It's okay to diverge from that, but diverging intentionally is different than maybe just landing on a preset sound and being like, okay, yeah, I'll use this. It's like, okay, why that sound? What is it doing? Does it make sense in the context? But this right here is the best part. I just want to listen to this part one more time. Those drums are loud too. Okay. Thank you, Aljah. Good job. Thank you for submitting. We did STK. Sub-Zero, you here? Sound off. If you submitted and you're here, I'd better hear from you. ASAP. Dotkey, Erod. Who's here? We're going to have a short stream today. You like the ARP, Cableman? Yeah. It's not for me. Gemini, what's good? Erod is here. Thank you for saying you're here. I tried to be nice. I only deleted one person from the conversation there because they submitted twice. I just thought, like, okay, you could not listen to the directions, but posting twice? I'm not about it. All right, Erod, let's listen to your track. Okay, we got some phaser guitar. Whoa. I'm a fan of where it's going because of the chords. Okay. Hi, kitty cat. Very good melodies. Very catchy. Three months into your beat making producing journey. Awesome. Well, one amazing thing for you. Oh, sorry. I didn't realize there was one more chord coming. One amazing thing for you is that the melody, the sensibility for like the song, this thing as a song, I can hear that really, really good. To make it better and to pull yourself out of some like amateur habits or whatever, this opening guitar, the palm muted idea is not bad. The way it sets up the chord progression is not bad. The overly affected phaser sound is very like, I got a guitar pedal, multi-effects pedal, and I'm gonna throw some phaser on my guitar now because I think it sounds cool. everything you want to do in moderation, everything you want to do with some subtlety. If I had this project file right now, I would take this track and I would mute the palm muted guitar, and it would sound 1,000 times better. Less of the phaser. The melodies are so good. This little, the plucked single note palm muted thing, da, 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 that's really good. And then this lead that comes in is really good. But one other thing that we need to fix here is as your tracks are coming in, the mix doesn't change the whole time. So I think this palm muted guitar is as loud as it is when it's alone in the focal point. It never changes in volume throughout the whole track. And it's no longer the focal point here, but for some reason it's still front and center. It never gets out of the way. Not only that, it's chords. Chords are sort of like part of the side, the window dressing, where the melody is the thing that should be with the spotlight on it in the center. So your mix can change over time. There's some fine tuning to be done there. But even just paying attention to what the purpose of some of the elements are. If it's chords, if it's part of the scenery, which is what chords usually are, then treat it accordingly. Spread it across the stereo field. EQ it appropriately. Level it appropriately. And then the next thing for you to check out is to just do a deep dive on is subtractive EQ. I assume that you're recording this guitar. I don't know if it's mic'd. I assume it's probably direct in. Is there like a synth that's only in the right channel? Or it has an auto pan on it or something? Don't do random auto pan things that slowly change over time. Yeah, so I assume it's recorded direct in. The thing with guitar is EQing it to get it to sound good is absolutely crucial, especially if you're recording direct in. And a lot of the times that is done with subtractive EQ. You got to very finely go in and find some of these mid-range frequencies and pull them out to get it to not sound like a typical direct in electric guitar. So deep dive into subtractive EQ for electric guitar. That is the next thing for you to check out. Yeah, and that panning thing, like, I think the number one thing for a beginner is beginners do things that's like, oh, that's a neat trick. This thing can pan over time. Or like, oh, that phaser sounds like pretty cool. I'll just like have it on as much as possible the whole time. And it's like, go listen to your favorite tracks. And I think it's like the novelty of when we first get into things, all the toys, right? Oh, the pedal that does this, the effect that does this. It's like we want to use all the toys all the time and crank them up to 11. But that is like, that just shows me that you just got access to all these toys, you know? Whereas more refined production, more higher quality production is using things in a much more subtle way. They're not excited by the novelty of just having the toys. They've learned to use the toys appropriately. That's something to always, always, always keep in mind. Like, am I intentionally using this thing, or am I just doing this thing cranked up because I think it kind of sounds cool? And there's a place for things that kind of sound cool, but you got to just pull back a little bit, show a little bit of restraint. Otherwise, like I said, the strength for you is your melodies, and the idea of the song are very good. You have very good sensibility for catchy melody. You hone some of this technical skill. That means the technical skill you can learn. I think the harder thing for people to learn is like taste and coming up with good melodies and good chord progressions. That's a little bit more like esoteric, a little more in the ether. So the fact that you already have that is a huge advantage. Now you just go learn some of the technical stuff, which is like learning addition and subtraction. It might be a pain to learn the steps, but if you take the steps, you get it done, you know? Good job, Erod. All right, Dot Key Sub-Zero. I didn't see you in chat, so I'm moving on. I'm also just gonna, as I go, I am gonna delete these messages so that I don't have to scroll and scroll and scroll. But thank you all. If I'm deleting your message, it means you submitted and you did great. Let's keep it rolling. Haven't even been going for an hour yet. On Hell, I've seen you. I love having a video so I can follow along. Whoa. I can't slow down, raising my feeding into the night. Oh, I just can't get you out of my mind. Yeah, down, shouting loud, got me running red lights. Oh, I just can't get you out of my mind. I can't slow down, raising my feeding into the night. Oh, I just can't get you out of my mind. Yeah. Nice. Slow down, raising my feeding into the night. Oh, I just can't get you out of my mind. Yeah, down, shouting loud, got me running red lights. Oh, I just can't get you out of my mind. I can't slow down, raising my feeding into the night. Oh, I just can't get you out of my mind. Yeah. Nice. On how very high quality production. Also, shout out to how organized your freaking project file is. Nice job. So, okay, first of all, major feedback is at the beginning. If you have an intro and it's like a mellow, calm intro, just because it's a mellow, calm intro doesn't mean, like, it should still set up the fact that very loud volume is coming, because I was a little jarred by this first drop at bar 9. Let me just see if that was just... Like, that crash is significantly louder than what came before, and there's even a white noise thing. So just, like, try to level that off a little bit. There's a little bit of a jarring, like, oh shit, it's so much louder at bar 9. A lot of the times I'm trying to imagine this without the top line, and what's good about it is one of the strongest parts of the track is the drop, and it doesn't use the top line in the drop. Like, this whole section is without top line, because sometimes a good top line can make us just feel like, oh, the track is good, it has a good top line, but it might not necessarily be so. All right, Obviously, this has me nodding the whole way through. It's a very good rhythm because it's like an anticipating wait. Boom. It like subverts the expectation. But once we're living in that section, it's kind of the same. There's not much happening other than the elements that are looped, right? The chords, the vocal sample thing, and the drums, right? Come on, JML, answer that question yourself. Read the title of the vocal sample. So I just think it's worth listening to some big future bass EDM artists. Like Skrillex is an example. Like it's a little bit of a dated example at this point to come back to, but there are things that you can sprinkle in there that will be things that only happen once. So since everything is happening on kind of like a loop, the next step is adding this sort of ear candy element, whether it's at transition points or every other bar or something like that. Let me just try to like mimic something. Dun, 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 dun. Daga, daga, dum, dum. Like little synthy lines, little vocal chop things, like little things sprinkled in that only happen the one time that they happen. Maybe they're happening at a certain interval, but they're different every time, you know? That could be the thing that takes it to the next level. Otherwise, it's a very high level track. But I think what you hear from probably most of the artists in this genre are those little things that happen, that only happen one time, that pull us out of loop land and put us into like more of a slightly more advanced realm. But On Hell, this is a very strong track. Let us know if you're releasing or what's going on. But it's very, very good. Well mixed too. I think it's like something about it is calling for a master. I don't know if it's mastered at all. And I'm not going to be this guy, but I did notice the right channel, and left channel, like going in the red. So if you are going to get it mastered, one thing to just keep in mind is all these tracks, you can just go back and bring each of these groups down like 5 dB. So it's not even close to 0. And then once a mastering chain gets on there and once the mastering happens, it's going to bring it back up to the proper level, but without maxing out and being too loud. Good job. Oh, I see this Chainsmokers Closer to Hell remix thing too. That's cool. All right, go follow On Hell if you can. Thank you. Peace and love. Gemini, Dot Key, Sub-Zero, are you in chat? If so, at me in chat so I can see you. Superman, are you in chat? I know JML is here, so JML will be the next one if I don't see anybody else pop up. Let's talk about something, chat. Let's talk about this chatter who popped in. Just to complain about how unfair it is that this is members only. My friend, let me tell you what's unfair. I've had this YouTube channel for 6, maybe 7 years. I've never seen you in my chat once. So the moment that you feel like there's an opportunity for you, you show up and decide to chat. And your one chat that I see is you complaining. So for 6 years, I've been in here on YouTube doing videos for free to help educate the community, to help people grow as artists. And you think it's unfair that there's a $2 membership fee to submit your music. You think it's unfair to pay $2 to get somebody's feedback. Now, let's say if I was a water provider or food provider, and I said, you have to be a member of my channel to get access to clean drinking water. That would be unfair because clean drinking water is a necessity for life. It's a thing that everybody should have access to. However, music reviews, my time, my opinion, my billboard, which is this channel, which is this stream, which is what people's music gets played on, is not a necessity in life. It's not a thing that you need to survive. It's a thing that you want, clearly, because you showed up here on the stream and are mad or sad that it's not fair that you have to be a member. So it's clearly something you want. So if you want something that I have, nothing is entitling you to get it from me. I create the terms of what it takes to get the thing from me. And those terms are: become a channel member, show some support, be a part of the community. No, instead, you want to just complain that things are not fair and show up to a community that's all vibing with each other, that's all complimenting each other, it's giving each other feedback, that's with each other week after week after week. And your one choice, your one instinct is to go and just complain. Good luck, brother. Music industry is going to be a tough place for you to survive if that's your attitude. Jay Scholes in the chat. Long time no see, Jay Scholes. Who else? Yeah, on hell, if I knew more about some like future bass and EDM artists, I would point to. Actually, one artist I really like is Tsunami. 2 words though, Tsunami. She's really, really dope. Jay Scholes, thank you for joining that VIP tier. Welcome back, welcome back. That's right, Saksham. That's right. I just don't have time for that. Like, good luck if you're going to be that person that complains that things are not fair. Like, optional things are not fair. There are, of course, disparities in the music industry. There's real things that are not fair. And then there's the fact that you have to be a YouTube member to submit music. That's not a thing that we're complaining about. Sorry. Superman, you're late. I will never forgive you. Nonetheless, here's Superman, Alice in Wonderland. Thank you, Jay. You don't have to do that. I know you support. It's not that I think everybody's that guy. This is a spoiler. The bass is way too loud. Like, it sounds like it was accidentally turned up to 12 before you uploaded the track. I like that perk loop. Ayush had a night out? Tell us more. Alright, this is good. I just can't sit and listen because that bass is so loud, so loud. And I'm just gonna fast forward here to a different section. That vocal sample is out of tune. Get rid of that vocal sample or tune it. What happened? Jesus. Okay, cool. The thing I'm just trying to remember is, or to remind everybody, that these beats that Superman makes are generally meant to have a rapper or a top line or something on them. So keep that in mind, because a beat is different if it's supposed to exist as a standalone instrumental versus a, you know, something's missing. The top line is missing. All right, like I really like all of the elements of this track. Like the sound selection is good. But Superman, yeah, that bass is like so loud. It's just got to come way down. And then that vocal sample is out of tune. And then the last thing that I'm going to say is there are these moments of, yeah, the general mix just needs to be helped, because the perk loop is so loud too. What happens, Superman? Your mixes are usually cleaner than this, I'll say. There are moments when the perk loop drops out. And hey, Hens Beats, thank you for joining at VIP tier. Listen to the perk loop. And then it drops, which is fine. But one thing you could do is foreshadow that drop with some kind of riser, and then emphasize it coming back in. Or else it just sounds like it's coming out. It's just like cut, 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 cut. But if you do more things reacting to each other, I mean, this goes back to the ear candy approach for On Hell's track, right? Things that are happening in your track, whether it's a transition, whether it's a change of instrument, lead goes from this instrument to that instrument, or there's a break in the percussion like this. Like, do little things that, like risers and effects, they're not things that just signal different sections of the track. They can be things that are within sections of a track, but foreshadow a change that's about to come. Like all these different little transition effects. It's not just for transitions of sections, but you can create little momentary tension and release using those things. Cool. All right, good job, Superman. But man, you gotta work on that mix though. And I say that with peace and love, because I've heard your music before and I've heard stronger mixes from you. I gotta go through and delete these so I don't lose track of who I've done. JML is up next. If you are Gemini, Dotki, or Sub-Zero, sound off. Keeping you there as a courtesy, but I'm gonna keep rolling through. With the amount of people that want their tracks reviewed, I gotta limit it to people who are present on the stream. And I know that's not great because of time zones or because of people's availability, but like, I don't know what else to do. I do, despite people telling me that it's not fair, try to make it as fair as possible. But at some point, if you want to go buy something from Walmart and Walmart's closed when you go there, it's not unfair that Walmart is closed. It's just their hours. Cyberman, March. Something is just like slightly off, that lead instrument. fuck is that? FYI, the instructions for how to submit are literally on the screen right now. So right now we're about a minute, almost 2 minutes into the track. We haven't had much change. These drums are super hard hitting, JML. Really, really good. I mean, the kick is probably blasting out the roof. Like for some of these where the mix is just, you guys gotta work on the mix. Like I can't listen to them at full volume. If your drums are super loud and the rest of the track is at a normal volume, I can't listen to the track full volume because the drums will blast my ears out. It was the same with the bass for the last track. There's not enough variation here. Dun, 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 dun. That note I just don't agree with. So some of the lead, just check the key. I think there's a catchier melody. This melody could be improved for sure. Pay attention to the notes that you're playing in relation to the chords that are happening. Sometimes the chords and the melodies don't coincide with each other. So pay very close attention to those chords. You got those string chords in the background. You get that lead instrument on top. How do the notes and the melodies relate to the chords that are happening underneath? It's not always going to coincide perfectly, but there are some things to stay away from. I was afraid to have my drums too subtle, but getting there. I think if you like, for anybody in this community that's like just been starting or been producing for not a long amount of time, subtlety is not a thing you should be afraid of. Subtlety is something you should run towards. Also, you don't have to apologize. Yeah, I'm doubling down on the fact that I think this melody's in the wrong key. And I see some people saying I try to get -8 or -6 dB. You got to go by sound. Like if you're going by just numbers every time, it's going to fall apart because you're going to use different samples. You're going to use different sounds that have different bass, volumes. Not bass as in bass, like basic that have a less standard volume. Like, so be careful of that, Superman, of being like, oh, I want -8 to -6. Like, okay, that maybe works for some things, but you got to just pay attention to the mix. Keeping it moving, Gary. I saw you in chat. I'm nearly positive. Yes, I did. Okay. Gary with drifting. Beautifully lush soundscape. Okay, keeping it thick. It reminds me a little bit of the song from Drive. Coid 505. Hello. Cool. Good job, Gary. Nicely done. Well executed in terms of genre and vibe. Like, nothing sounds out of place. So let's talk about how to make it even better. Okay, so something to pay attention to, and it's gonna be more evident when the dun 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 bass comes in, is one thing we want to try to avoid to get our music sound a little bit more advanced is parallel movement, meaning having everything moving in the same direction at the same time. We want to try to avoid that. We want to try to have some things doing opposite motion. So if you listen to the chords and the bass, when this synth bass comes in, dun 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 dun, what you're gonna notice is they move with parallel motion. 1, 2, 3, 4, dun 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 dun. And they move down, move back up. They move, both moving back up together. That is kind of like, could we voice it better? Like, this is a big leap for the bass here. Does the bass need to move, keep going up like that? And I'm saying bass, but I mean that kind of arpeggiated synth. Can you make the voicings closer? The more instruments make these big leaps, the less natural it sounds. Because if you're an instrumentalist or if you're a player, like, you're gonna make certain leaps, yes, of course. Some over the rainbow, that's like an octave leap, right at the jump. That's as big as it gets. But then all the other motion after that is pretty close. Similar for a lot of our music here. Instead of following the pattern by making the same leaps and same movements, can we close that out and do closer movement? Guys, we have a visitor at the studio door. Hold on. Oh, wrong button. Sorry. So avoid that parallel movement. And then I have more stuff about the... Sorry, this is very distracting. More stuff about the lead. Listen to this lead again. The lead rhythm, the rate stays pretty much the same the whole time, and it's very straight. Dun, 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 dun. It's just very kind of straight ahead and predictable almost. So instead, what you could do is try to think like a singer. Like when a singer sings phrases, if a singer was singing that lead phrase, actually, it would sound a bit unnatural and a bit robotic. So when you're playing leads, try to think more like how a singer would phrase things. There'd just be a little bit more of a flow to it. Otherwise, sound selection mix, I think, is all great in this track. It's a mood. Couple things that can improve, maybe not necessarily for this track, but for a future track. This damn cat tries to break down the door and then leaves. All right, hopefully that made sense, and sorry for the cat interruption. Otherwise, very strong track, Gary. Perhaps one of your strongest yet? Mika Silk, are you in chat? Oh, you are in chat. Saw you right there. Yo, hold up. We got a huge supporter. Call me 911. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. How long are you live streaming today? Usually these track streams go for about 3 hours. Thank you, Gary, for that submission. And thank you, JML. Next up, we're going to do Mika Silk. If you notice that you're before Mika Silk in the Discord, it's because I skipped you because I didn't see you in chat. Peace and love, peace and love. All right, what were the notes that I need to read for this? Second submission, appreciate any feedback. Been making music for 1.5 years now. We'd love to hear it. So let's freaking get it. Forgotten Secrets. Wow. Mika, or a Heavy Silk. Mika, help me. Tell us a little bit more about the track in chat. What are you going for? That's interesting, that holding of that pad in the back. Mika. Cool. All right, Mika, let's talk about it. I like the idea of, you said lo-fi type stuff, mixing shoegaze elements with lo-fi stuff. Cool. Yeah, so I hear it in the drone for sure. I think it could use some work with the drum sound selection. Some of this drum kit sounds a little bit all over the place. The kick is fine. I'm hearing 2 instruments that are sort of like closed hi-hats. One's over here, and I tend to like the one that's on the right more. Then there's one on the left that's a little more bright and a little more trappy, you know? But the drone, like if we're talking about like lo-fi and shoegazy kind of stuff, I think like long, washy kind of tune, kind of tones. But everything else besides the drone is playing very short notes and sort of staccato-ish kind of phrases. Even the bass. Dum, dum, dum. And then the bell, boom, 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 boom. Whereas I think this track could benefit a lot from at least having a bass that's just playing long tones. long whole notes that set up a more foundational harmony, because right now the space starts moving and now everything is moving. So you have this big calm soundscape with a drone and some crickets in the background, and everything else is just kind of moving at a steady pace. Da 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 da. Which is fine. Just maybe try to decide on how do you want the audience to move? How do you want to move to the music? What's the feel that you want to achieve? And how can the drums and the instruments and what those drums and instruments are doing actually contribute to that feel? This is a very mid-tempo, straight ahead, 3, 4. Does it need to be like slower so it's like takes more time and flows more? Does it need to be faster so it gets my head knocking a little more? Like, whatever the answer is to that, be intentional about that. And I think lean more into the droney thing, because right now the drone is just kind of hanging back the whole time. And I almost now am wondering, what does this track sound like if the drums come out? Because what I think it is the movement of all the other instruments versus the drone. Those two ideas are kind of conflicting. I also make ambient music. Nice. I would love to hear one of your ambient tracks. I've been making more and more ambient lately. Last night I was sitting just like making drones with these live devices that I don't usually use. And man, I think I just got to disappear off the earth and go stay in a cabin off the grid and just make ambient music for the rest of my life. I think I'm like this close. You guys are not even going to know that it's happening. I'm just never going to upload or go live again. I'll just be making ambient music in the woods. So yeah, if this is meant to be like a beat with movement, cool, lean heavier into that. If it's supposed to be more spacey and more flowy, etc., try to have more of the elements match up with that, I guess. But for just over a year, like producing stuff, good job. Thank you. I wanted to point out one comment because I want to just clarify my position, because I know people take different things away from what I might say, and it might not exactly be what I'm meaning to say. And I'm not going to find it again, and I'm not going to bother oh, yeah. Hannah Shipman in chat says, my main takeaway from today is to sort of think of conventional instruments and voices. We can learn so much from each other. That's kind of what I'm saying. Now I lost the chat. That's kind of what I'm saying, but not exactly. I don't want to push everybody into this homogenous way of producing so that everybody's music sounds the same, or that you can the only thing you should be doing is imitating music that has some success. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that is very helpful, especially for beginners, because what happens is, as a beginner, you don't know the conventions, so you tend to just go for the unconventional. And what doesn't work about that is when every single element of your track is unconventional and you don't have a strong foundation of sort of the rules in which the genre you're creating, the type of music you're creating operates. When you break all of them at the same time, you're not being successful in trying to make the kind of music that you want to make, because you don't actually know the rules. So you're just doing a bunch of stuff because it's like different and unconventional. So the reason why I try to push beginners into being more thoughtful about what they're doing by examining the music that they love is so that you can learn those techniques and learn those foundations and then someday break those conventions and make something new and original. But you never get to that point unless you learn some foundations and some conventions. So I'm not necessarily trying to say everybody go make your music sound more traditional and conventional. I'm saying for a lot of the beginner audience, your instincts of like, I'm going to make something original and something that nobody's ever heard before are generally making your music sound bad and making it so that nobody ever wants to listen to your music and making it so that you don't want to make music anymore because you don't feel like anybody cares. That is what I want to avoid. So just to clarify that. Long and short of it is, I guess, learn the rules before you start breaking them. It baffles me the beginner's instinct to just like, I'm going to be different. I don't know anything, but I'm going to break the rules. Okay, you don't even know the rules, so how are you going to break them? It just sounds bad. I'm sorry. All right, I'm just glancing down at how many tracks we have left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So listen up. If you are not in chat, I'm skipping your track. Oh, thank you for the 12 months. Levi Meows. Thank you for the 12 months. And hey, Irish, thank you for the 200 currency that I've not seen before. Thank you. We're actually about to do your track. Where can we learn genre rules, says Saksham. Here's where you learn genre rules. You go make a playlist of all the songs that you like in that genre. You sit with a notebook and a pencil and you write down all of the common things that you hear. Thank you for the rupee, Ayush. Thank you. You write down, oh, all of these songs are between 3 and 5 minutes. You write down, oh, most of these songs feature a verse, chorus, bridge, chorus structure. These songs do not feature this instrument. Most of these songs feature this instrument. Not everything has to be told to you. Not everything has to be like, what are the rules for making lo-fi music? Because here's the thing, there's not really rules. There are common things that people do. If you want to make a rule set for yourself so you can get closer to achieving the sound that you want, then you have to go out and find it. There are certain rules in terms of like music fundamentals, which I've covered a lot of those in my music theory series, so that's another thing. But when it comes to nuances of genre, like it's about you examining a collection of music that you really like and figuring out what the rule set is. You could figure it out. All right, Ayush, we got a video. I'm stoked for it. This is a vibe. Oh, wait, there's a lamp. Interesting.
I wanted to make sure that you're settled and happy enough. Considering. Are you bored, stiff, or do you think you can stick it out a bit?
That's my favorite scene from Spider-Man.
Are you bored, stiff, or do you think you can stick it out a bit?
Good performance effects.
I wanted to make sure that you're settled and happy enough. Considering. Are you bored, stiff, or do you think you can stick it out a bit?
Mostly done on koala, but you're using the push. I don't understand.
Settled. Happy enough.
My mom is in the chat.
Stick it out of it.
Alright, you've lost me. At this timestamp, you've lost me because I don't know what we're doing anymore. So like I said, the performance effects are cool. I do like performing with similar effects. But what's happening is we've kind of gone through, and I don't really understand the structure or the reasoning for certain things coming in and out. It seems like it's coming in and out just for the sake of it being a performance, just for the sake of it being a track, a video. We just got to be more intentional about the choices that we make. I think, if anything, I think that is a running theme today of like being intentional. Sometimes we get the tools for music production and we just start making stuff with no intention, and it's cool to twist knobs and it's cool to have this come in and then have it come back in, but being more mindful about the intention of the structure. Like, did this need to be 4 minutes long? Question mark. But let me throw some compliments. I like the use of the quotes and the fact that you shot this as a video. Do more video. Do more video. I can't stress this enough. Yes, it's well shot. This is a good scene. I like the little movie quote. Things popping in and out. That's cool. But like this 45 seconds, that first 45 seconds, very intentional. That was a full-on intro that built up. And now we're like head nodding, right? It starts to just drift into random land. It almost feels like you're just trying to fill the time after about 3 minutes. From a mixing perspective too, these chords, they're occupying so much space. Like your bass is so low, like low in range. It's almost like a whole octave too low. It's very hard to hear. And it doesn't sound like it's following the harmony of the guitars either. I honestly just enjoyed it. That's why it's so long. That is the right answer. That gives me better context. You're just chilling, doing a jam session, enjoying yourself. I'm not going to look at this as like, oh, this is supposed to be a 4-minute piece that is like exists as a single. It's like, no, this is a performance. So that's good context. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, that's true. It does say jam session in the title. I could be more mindful of that. This section, really good introduction to that instrument. The high instrument, I don't know if I love. It sounds like a granular sample or something. Obviously so. And it's just peaks out above everything. Everything's got this kind of smooth jam sound, and then that high synth comes in is kind of a bit piercing. So a couple things to think about, but overall great. I'm very happy to see a video from you here, Ayush. It's almost like 404 style. I wonder if you've thought about getting a 404 because you're using koala a lot too. Thank you, Ayush Music, for submitting that track. Bonus points for video. Cableman. Stand up, Cableman. Thank you, Aish. All right. Bliss by Cables. Sounds like Freelance Whales. Okay. I like that a lot. Cableman, is this on Spotify or what? Because this is an easy ad for the lo-fi playlist. Good. Nice. This is like almost, it might be my favorite track of the day, if I can remember all the tracks in my brain. So yeah, very great textures, similar to SDK's in the way that you have that sort of like wooden percussion texture, subtle texture to it. Very cool. Couple places I would improve is the lead instrument. There's auto pan happening, I think. Just a little less of the auto pan, I think. It's okay to have it flowing, but maybe not so drastically. It's just a bit distracting. And then I think the lead is also like a bit loud. A lead instrument already comes out. You don't have to pump it so much on the volume. And the thing about the auto pan is you are using the stereo field really well. There's like a guitar thing happening in the right ear. There's, you know, the percussion, you're using the stereo field well. When you have the lead instrument just like panning, all that work you've done to use your stereo field is out the window, because the thing that's supposed to have the spotlight on it and supposed to be dead center front of the stage is drifting over to the thing you panned over here, and then it's drifting back over to the thing you pinned over here. So I would just, that's my caution. I think maybe you could still do a little bit of interesting panning, but more subtly. And maybe it's not just volume on the lead, maybe it's also a little bit of EQ work too. Maybe it's a little too much in that nasally midsection, mid-range frequencies, but that might just be, it's a very kind of nasally synth anyway. And then the last thing I say to improve, give us a little more of an outro. I don't think it needs to cut like that, but of course that's your creative choice. Give us a little more drift off time. Otherwise, Cables, great job. Go give a follow if you can, my friends. Definitely, my friend, when this track is hitting Spotify, let us know and make sure you submit it to the community playlist. That's an easy ad from me. Nascent, do you hear? I'm just timing people out, by the way. I'm just putting people in timeout that jump right in with a question about the Discord or submitting the music. Because it's pinned to the top. And now it's on screen again. All right, we have a couple more. Let me just count these again to make sure we're not going to run out of time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's 3 above that. Yeah, we're going to do closed. Somebody in the Discord, go ahead and make a closed. Say it's closed. Because we'll be going on forever. Wayward Ambiance, are you here? Nascent, are you here? Shout it from the rooftops. I'm gonna replace this. And we're actually gonna take that off the screen. There we go. Thank you, Bishop. I like the SpongeBob GIFs you guys used last time. That was funny. All right, again, looking for people who are actually here. Wayward Ambience. Nascent is here. We love to hear it. Get it, let's get it, let's get it. One last thing. Should have saved it for the last submission. Oh. That's the Nascent we know and love. Something's gonna happen. Cool. I was wondering if it was gonna evolve beyond the ambient arps, if we were gonna get like a big blasting drums or something. But we didn't, and I'm not mad about it. I think this track existing as this spacey, I feel like I'm drifting through space, of course, as I usually do feel when Nascent submits music, so. Drift in, drift out, wish I had more. I think at some level, less is more. There's this pad sound in the background that almost sounds like it's breathing. And the subtlety there. Of that piano coming in. Maybe my only feedback would be like, you have new elements coming in and you almost usher in a new section there with that little break. Maybe it's at that moment, it's okay to push the ARP closer towards the background and let some of the other elements shine. Like, what would it be like if that main ARP got totally filtered to the background while other things came more to the foreground and then the ARP sort of filtered back in? It does not need a drum drop, I don't think. But I like that the fact that the density of the ARP changes towards the end and it starts building again. And maybe just a little more, not necessarily Foley-ish sounds, but the fact of that breathing pad in the background is so nice. Are there more organic, percussive adjace, FX adjace sounds that could be added? Air, like more sounds of air to support the floating nature of the sound. I don't know. Good job, Nascent. I feel like I haven't heard a classic Nascent track in a while, so thank you for that. Or One Last Thing, love it. Would have been a good closer for sure. All right, again, I have Sub-Zero, Dotkey, Gemini in the wings. I got Quentin Lee with the submission here. Cacti, I know I've seen you. If you're any of those names that I already said, at me in chat. Cool art. Very Renaissance painting-esque.
She said, oh, what a sadness in your eyes. I've been here right on at times, trying not to cross the line. When I fall, hearing what you have been told, is that all what it takes for you to go? For you to go. I wanna walk away, but it's too late now.
Joseph McCaffrey, up early or up late?
It's been lost and found. I'm on the edge of life. At 25.
Whoa! That's a smart video idea. Is it sign language or is it just like cool hand movements and light? Take that idea further. They all have meaning. Ah, it ended there. Very cool. Love to hear the vocals as well. Put the meaning in the comment. Definitely a 1975 vibe. I'm not going to read all this, but I think it's interesting. Leave it on screen for a moment so people can take it all in. Cool. So I think major improvement that could be made here. I think the instrumental is pretty good. But just listen to the drums. Listen to the hi-hat in comparison to the kick and the snare. The hi-hat is right in front of me and super bright. The kick and snare are in the other room. The kick and snare being in the other room fits the whole vibe of the track. The hi-hat being bright and in my face does not. So whether that's with panning and volume, it doesn't even have to necessarily be with filtering if you want to keep some of the brightness. But just make sure they're all in the same place. Even that shh, that kind of reverse symbol thing that happened had the reverb on it, which implied the space. There's no implication of space with the hi-hat. M83, yeah, that's a good reference point. And I think on the note of space, the vocals. The reverb on the vocal is a relatively short and bright reverb. Should it possibly be a longer, darker reverb? Also, I think the reverb is directly on the vocal. Could you experiment with using more of a return track? That way we retain a little bit of the regular signal. Send it over to a reverb rather than having it on the actual thing. Something to experiment with. But you might be right in putting it on there to wash it out a little bit. But if you're going to wash it out a little bit, wash it out a bit. Cool, I want to hear more of this from you. There were times in the beginning where I thought the rhythm was just falling off a little bit in the vocals. So just lock that in a little bit. Don't be afraid to go in and do a little quantization or do another take so that it's locked in a little more rhythmically. And also, Cacti, it might be a combination of the two, reverb on and a return reverb. Last thing is, if you really want to go for that 1975 sound, consider recording your voice. So you're already using the voice as an instrumental here, as a one shot. Dun, dun. What if you took the voice and you sang each of the notes of the chords and the voice supported the chords as background vocals? You have to be very good with the mixing for that, though. You don't want them getting in the way of the other vocals. But if you had yourself recording each note of each chord and you layered that in, that would sound really powerful here at the end. Good job, though, and good job with the meaning for the video, too. One thing I would say is, I don't know if you took this photo. I need an answer right away if you took this photo. Because if you did, even if you didn't take this photo, I know this is kind of a very artsy, well-lit shot. If the sign language thing matched this, it would be 1,000 times better. A copyright-free pic, yeah. So, but even with a phone or something, you can get really good photography. It's cool that you utilize the light with the shadows for this. Can you take it one step further? Think a little bit more of the framing. If the purpose of it is for video, making it so it's a wide shot. Film-esque filter, making this video instead of still photographs. Just something to think about to take things to the next level. Otherwise, a good job. Well done. Very creative. Go give a sub if you enjoyed that. We got Bishop91 up next. Slice Stutter, if you're in the chat, say hello. Same for Roddy Dodd Jr. Say hello. At me in chat. At me in chat. You won't. At me. Ed Piano, at me in chat. I saw Jane on already. My friends, I'm skipping people that are not here. Just keep it in mind. This ain't the Shire, says Bishop. Hi, Ed Piano. Hi, Rodney. Cool. Bishop always coming in with the hot hip hop. Muted trumpet sounds great. Peace out, Mystical Mind Vibes. Thanks for hanging. Oh, just like that, it's over? What happened? Okay, my first feedback is it's too short and it just starts off running. Whoa. That's interesting. No intro? Can we get a little bit of an intro? All right, all the parts are here. I think it's a great assembled track. There's definitely a concept here using the symphonic orchestra, so you're leaning towards the symphony, you know, big band vibe. It's my famous WIP recipe. Perfect. So I think all the sounds fit together really well, and I love the use of the muted trumpet as a lead instrument later on. But I almost wonder, because think about this section, right? You have a full brass section, you have a very like epic kind of piano line, you have drum is rocking on the ride. Does it fully make sense to have the muted trumpet take the lead there, or would it be an unmuted trumpet at that point? And is there an opportunity to do a section that's more mellow with a muted trumpet, and then later a section where a not muted instrument takes the lead, whether that's a not muted trumpet or whether that's a trumpet section that takes the lead and plays the same melody, just not muted? Something to think about, because some of these instruments are big and it's like big sections. Meanwhile, you have these big sections against one small little muted trumpet. Doesn't make sense. Perhaps. Might make more sense here where there's less happening. And then if you think about it in terms of like evolution, you go from having smaller sections and a bit of a smaller sound, bigger, get bigger over time. So that's all the instruments blaring. And does the reverb on that string section match the reverb of everything else, you know? Here, everything gels pretty well, but I'm just thinking of the contextual, making it make contextual sense. Good. There was something else I was going to say and I can't remember. Oh, rhythmic figures. If you can get things to sync up and do something a little more interesting rhythmically, because right now you just kind of have this rolling hip hop thing going, and it's great. It's a good jam. It's got my head bumping. But in the sense that you're going to make this track longer and turn it into a full track, there's opportunities to do cool rhythmic things where all the instruments are synced up. So you have a little bit of a catchy rhythm. Dun, dun, dun. You have that dun, dun, dun happening, right? What if all the instruments did that and it was super staccato? Drums, strings, brass, and all. Dun, 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 dun. Boom, boom, you know, that kind of thing. I hope that made sense, what I just did with my mouth. Just think about that. Might be, and make sure you do it right with all the mixing and all the way the instruments react. Like if you're hitting a ride, it's probably somebody hitting the ride and catching it so that it's muted. You know? I think it could bring the track to the next level. Bishop 91, thank you for your service. And thank you for that track. This ain't the Shire. Sly Stutter. This is a Beattober 2021 beat. Love to hear that. Focusing on composition, getting comfortable with setup and DAW, and I was saying to put more attention towards mixing and mastering. Let's hear it. Road trip vibes. I feel like I have a sample that plays the same thing, but I don't think this is the sample. All right, that ending was not acceptable. There are some cool ideas here, but it is this tendency toward randomness. I'm telling you all, the tendency towards randomness and doing things for the sake of them being cool is dragging your music down, and we'll get into where it's an issue. First of all, if you're gonna record your own guitar, that's fine. You really, really, really have to refine your playing. The dynamics are a little all over the place. Listen to that. Ding, ding, dang. That's not intentional. That's intentional. Then for that, it's the second note. Ding, dong, ding. Gotta refine the playing. We have DAWs. We have like basically unlimited hard drive space. Play it until if it's intentional, then it doesn't make sense to me. You're not giving me a chance to latch on to anything. There's variation in the phrase right off the bat. And then it's back to like so if you're doing something intentionally, it's obvious that it's intentional, and the fact that we just went right back to like, actually this is probably a loop now that I'm looking at it. Just be careful, because some of it doesn't sound intentional, and there's a difference between it not being super clean and it just kind of being all over the place dynamically. Because what's also happening in some of these dynamic things is the tuning is just going out of whack in a subtle way. Like that note is sharp. So that's the one thing, opening up right there. I kind of get what you're doing with the chop thing here, but there's a chop in combination with some reverse or something. The reverse is throwing things off. Or maybe it's just that the attack is missing from the chops. I don't know if your attack is turned up, so it's like boom, 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 and dun, 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 dun. If you're gonna do chops, I would do it. The only reason I ever pull back on the attack, or I turn the attack up, I should say, on chopping samples, is just to get rid of that initial click that happens when you chop samples. But if it starts to become a fade in, it kind of takes away from the chop. If you're chopping like this, keep a good amount of attack. Just get rid of that initial like click that comes with chopping a sample in the middle of a sound. The bass is really nice. And then here it just goes off the rails. Like this becomes suddenly not a melody. And then I'm like, all right, it's gonna get good because the melody starts really good. And then there's just ding, ding, ding. It hangs on that note for so long. Ding, the four. Ding. It's wanting to resolve down so bad, but it just hangs on that note. And then meanwhile, it's got this kind of random like reversing chop thing under it. Thank you. Takes a little too long to get there though. That's really good. That call and response thing, really, really good. But then there's just like meandering. It's meandering. So be intentional about the melodies. Refine them even more. Use a little bit more repetition. It doesn't have to be totally through composed. There can be some variation. And that guitar tone there at the end is really good. So overall, this is what I was talking about before with like things being overly complicated and to lean more into foundational rules. It's like you have the initial guitar that's got this like kind of randomness to it, randomness in dynamics, and the tuning is going like a little bit in and out. Then you start chopping it, and then that also feels random. The beat is the only thing that's just kind of steady and straight ahead. And then you get the melody, which also has this randomness. And then you introduce a counter melody, which also has randomness. So when it's like random, 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 nothing is coalescing. So all these parts need to be complementing each other and coalescing. If you want to go out there and do a little bit of randomness, pick one element and be like, this element is the thing that's going to be meandering and weird and all that stuff. But all the other elements, they either got to be interlocking, resolving each other's melodic ideas, setting a solid foundation, which the guitar and the drums, the rhythm guitar and the guitar chops and the drums, their main job by the time we get to this section of the track is to have a nice solid foundation for these melodies to float on. But because there's that element of randomness in the chopped guitars, it's super distracting and I can't focus on the melody. And it's probably even distracting you as the composer, it's just distracting you away from creating an actual melody that resolves well and has good phrasing, you know? So all that said, I know you said you're like focusing on mixing and mastering. Been focusing on getting comfortable with composition, getting comfortable with DAW. There's still work to be done there in terms of like melodic phrasing and your core elements. Work to be done, but nonetheless, if you're a guitar player and some of these ideas are just like so close to being good ideas, just refine, refine, refine. It's not enough to say at the beginning, like, yeah, I just didn't want it to be clean. It's like, okay, you don't want it to be clean. What do you mean by that? You mean you want the intonation to be a little bit off? You mean you want the dynamics to sound a little random? Or do you just mean like you want like a gritty tone? Like those are three different things and you're achieving all of them. It has a gritty tone. Don't let like an idea of like, oh, I don't want it to be so clean. This is another thing like beginners tend to do. I don't want it to be clean. I don't want it to sound like super good. I kind of want it to sound a little bad. It's like, okay, well, it sounds a little bad. I'm sorry. And you're using that as an excuse to like refine the playing. I'm not saying you're doing that, Sly Stutter. I'm saying I hear that a lot from people. Yeah, I don't want it to be super clean. I want it to sound like trash. Not saying this sounds like trash. Again, I'm just saying like that's the mentality I tend to hear. So just be aware of that. When you play something in the studio, don't give yourself the excuse of like, oh, I don't want it to sound super clean. When it's like, I should probably clean up the intonation, or I should probably clean up the dynamics, and just focus on doing a better take. It's my 2 cents. Thank you, Sly Stutter, for your submission. Roddy Dodd. Interesting dragon. This track is 5 minutes 59 seconds. We are not listening to the entire 6 minutes. I'm sorry. Unless it's like really good, really amazing. Sly Stutter says intentional randomness instead of random randomness. Yes. Of course. It's very obvious when beginners and amateurs are doing random randomness because they don't know any better versus intentional randomness. We got like a first full track after a month of writing. Cool. Perfect example of random randomness. We've got this arpeggiated thing with this ambient thing in the back, ambient dark pad in the background. Beautiful, beautifully dark and cinematic, especially with some of the harmonic stuff that's happening. Drums are going to come in and solidify that pace that the arp is setting for us. Then those chords come in on one, and then they just have a mind of their own. Why are those chords happening at such a random pace? This is me counting with the drums. You can't do just random stuff like that. It doesn't sound good just because it's random. There's ways to do off-kilter things without it being incorrect. Oh, the chords are coming back subtly. They're still a little off though. Thank you for submitting this, Rodney Rhodes. I'm going slightly harder on you as a culmination of things that I've heard in other entries, not having to do specifically with your entry, but I'm using it as an example to talk about this, and it's later in the stream, so, you know. Some of you have things that sound really good and then just sprinkle a little bit of shit in it. I don't understand. This section sounds pretty good. And then there's just this random chromatic thing. Just waxing and waning, in and out. Chromatic. For what? There's a time and a place for everything. If you wanted to use like some kind of chromatic scale thing as a transition to another section or to emphasize something, but it just seems like it's in there just for the sake of it to be in there, and it's chromatic, so it doesn't sound very good as a core element of your track. Because otherwise, subtract that, you have this really cool, dark, cinematic thing happening. Or maybe if that ARP was like in key, it would sound pretty good. Oh my god. The chromatic thing, it has to go. I can't believe it got carried over into this section. The rhythmic change, really good. It's almost like a dark dragon circus performer. Like a dragon trainer at some dark medieval circus. Yes, the chromatic thing as an effect makes sense, but as a constant element, it's just... It was just an idea that I had, but I totally understand it. Yeah. But we have lots of ideas in our composition stage. What we have to make sure we're doing is not saying every idea is a good idea. You have to start refining your taste to know which ideas you have make the cut and which ideas don't, you know? And by the way, I think this track is like really, really cool and cinematic. So lots of elements where you think, I don't even think it's lots of elements. That's the thing. When I pop off like this, it's usually when like a track is like 90% great with 10% just like, what the fuck were you thinking? That's what it is. That's what sets me off. It's like when a track is like mostly great with just a like somebody let like a cat come walk on the piano and say, yeah, that's perfect, keep it. And if I may, the chromatic thing in this section here that's more dense makes more sense. When it's over here kind of by itself as a focal point, makes less sense. When it's in this circus performer, oh. Yeah, the track gets a lot better as it goes on, and I totally am getting this like medieval fantasy, almost circusy-esque kind of vibe. So that concept is like super clear to me, that there is like a epic concept there. The track gets so much better as it goes on. I said I wasn't going to listen to the whole thing, but the fact that we did listen to the whole thing means that there is something great here. And like I said, I promise this is a compliment. First of all, we listened to the whole song, made it through. That means like the structure and everything is like really interesting. It's really interesting to listen to. And the reason I get so fired up is because I'm like, this track could be 100% great without like 2% of the randomness, like a 2% more refinement, you know? Good job. And the fact that this is your first full track after a month of writing, good job. I'm not at all negative on this track. I think it's great. I think it's just like little elements of refinement. And I'm using it more as a broader jumping off point to talk about approach. So good job, Rodney. I don't think it's necessarily two different tracks either. I think you could probably come up with a whole concept album off of this. Like, what does the next chapter sound like if this is chapter 1? Good job. Thank you. That's your first submission here, I think. So good job. Kino, are you in chat? Moving on. Thank you, Roddy. Roddy Dodd Jr. Submissions are closed for anybody who's asking. You can tell that just by reading the pinned comment. Ed Piano, I believe I did see. Did I see Kino, though? I did see... Oh, Kino is here. Fantastic. Switching over to wireless mode here for a moment because I'm going to have to go to the bathroom. Okay, do I have notes about this track? My initial impression, I'm going to run to the bathroom but continue listening via wireless. My initial impression is like, what's the idea here? I feel like there's a lot of instruments playing, but I'm not sure how they connect. Everything feels like it's doing its own thing instead of culminating into one thing. All right, keep listening to the track chat and I'll be right back. We've listened to over 3 minutes of this track, and like the previous track was 6 minutes long, but I wanted to continue listening because it kept me interested in it, and there was a reason to listen. There was an evolution. This track has a bunch of repeated elements throughout 4 minutes. It doesn't provide a reason for existing for 4 minutes. That is my feedback. Also, the context matters. So I would love to have heard some notes or something about your track where it's like, you know, Ayush's track was a jam session. That changes the context. There was another one where the context mattered as well. Oh, Superman's tracks. You know, they're looking for a top line in a rapper or something, right? This I don't know the context of. If it's meant to have a top line on it, which would be my impression because it does feel like something's missing. It's not following a traditional enough structure for that. If it's meant to be an instrumental to exist on its own, it doesn't have enough to keep me listening and interested. The melodies don't interact with each other. It's soundscapey. If you want to do a soundscape, my thing is like, go full on into doing, it says soundtrack. Okay, fair. But if that's the case, get rid of the beat. Having this conventional, like I'm not moving to this beat because nothing's contributing to a groove, you know? I think this track is 10 times better if you take away the drums, the traditional like kind of hip hop drum beat, and you go lean into this more floaty, drifty elements in and out. That's the answer, I think. But if that's not your intention, then that obviously will affect how you approach it. Ed Piano is next.
They're widely happy friends.
Anime lo-fi season. Close to getting that phones. Nice. Joseph McCaffrey, member 15 months. Sheesh. Okay, this melody. It shares a lot of the elements of the other suggestions I gave for melodies earlier. It's got that nice brum brum thing to it, but other than that, it's very dun, 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 dun. There's no counter melody to it, right? There's no call and response or anything. You need that. The other thing is I was waiting for the beat to drop the whole time. The kick is not doing much. So you can be lo-fi and take out some high frequencies, but don't take out all your low frequencies. Boom. It needs to be like a big, robust kick. Go listen to a bunch of other lo-fi tracks and listen to their drums. Compare your drums to their drums. It's Joe's show. Yeah, what happened to the kick? Like these drums sound fully filtered, and that I expected the filter to open up and for them to become full drums. So that's what needs to happen next for that. Thanks, Ed Piano, for the submission. Abu Dhabi, wow. Open those drums up. Jane on. Let's go.
Homie, this ain't something new. This is what I always do. Staying silent, moving quiet. I be checking
Yo,
out the view.
I've been feeling jittery like there's something wrong to be manly. Guess I'll never be the same man as that identity. This one is my enemy. Never only wish it was the better me. Separated and moving separately. Rapping and sipping Hennessy. Lacking a vision and chemistry. Stacking my coins be therapy. Moving money like charity. Need me a moment of clarity. Marinating your parody. Your parents staring at you angrily with the glare of agony. Making fun of you hourly. Can't stand the sound of you cowarding. Yo, I be out here making salary. Pounding hourly to my parents proud of me. I be out here rapping over instrumentals frequently. Chilling in the studio with lyrics, peep the scenery. I've been about this shit a long time. Yo, it's not new to me. Flowing over beats fluently. I be shining bright with them grills on. Nikes on my feet, homie. Yeah, that's a real song. If you think you sound dope, then you real gone. Word is born.
Homie, this ain't something new. This is what I always do. Staying silent, moving quiet. I be checking out the view. Homie, this ain't something new. This is what I always do. Staying silent, moving quiet. I be checking out the view.
Over top of this beat with artistic precision. Every word I paint a picture like it's straight from my vision. Bring it to life in a verbal form. That be my mission. You can never perform something with so much ambition. There's a distinct difference between you and I. So listen, there's no truth to your words. You might as well be writing a fiction. I spend all of my time in the studio like it's a prison. I've made many songs and released them, but no one listens. It's time to make moves and start expanding my business. I've been stacking loot and trying to make myself a living. My thoughts and recipes in the studio be my kitchen. I haven't even started, but they'll know me when I'm finished. I be moving farther than all of you in a minute. I'm moving heavyweight, yo, I'm never exceeding my limit.
Homie, this ain't something new. This is what I always do. Staying silent, moving quiet. I be checking out the view. Homie, this ain't something new. This is what I always do. Staying silent, moving quiet. I be checking out the view.
That hook is catchy. The nodders emote works. I'm sorry, I'm way too busy trying to type nodders into the chat. Janon, go back. All right, first of all, you made the beat and you're rapping. Shout out to you, my friend. If you can really get good and really get dope, you have a bright future. The beat has a classic hip-hop sound. I'm not gonna critique it too much in terms of mix because I think it's good and passable. The thing that for you I would dive deep into technically would be vocal, specifically rap mixing for a voice. Because I think a little bit of the lack of clarity is in the performance. But I think more of it is learning to use compression and EQ to your advantage. And then this hook, I think the hook is good, like melodically. But there's something where there's like a little bit of reverb on that. And sometimes when I hear a little bit of reverb on a track where it's like, okay, nothing else really has reverb on it, it kind of cheapens it a bit. So think about that. Songs and release them, but no one listens. It's time to make moves and start expanding my business. I've been stacking loot and trying to that the beat has like a little vocal sample in it too, which is cool. So keep going forward with this, Janon. Like keep going. I think, like I said, the vocal production is where you can step up the game the most. Keep making those typical hip hop beats, and then something also to think about is look at the artists and the rappers that you kind of aspire to be, and refine your style even more. Because even though this is really good, and I'm really impressed that you made the beat and you're rapping on this, you're doing it all, it doesn't have a distinct style. It has a typical sort of hip hop. I saw Bishop saying like 90s East Coast vibe. Sure. But what is your sound? What makes it so that when people show up to a Janon track that they know it's a Janon track? And what's something new that you're offering that is distinctly you? Just think about that. It's not really actionable at the moment, but like it's something you can be mindful of going forward in production. Because if you look at some of your idols and the people you want to emulate, or at least emulate the success of, maybe you can point to some things about them that made their shit unique. Thank you, Janon. A couple tracks with vocals today. I'm impressed by you all who are doing vocals and stuff. Well done. Kamikaze Shots, are you present? Addie, I know, is present, so I'm going to jump right to Addie. And then I'm going to do one last call. Quentin Lee, Gemini, Dot Key, Sub-Zero. Kamikaze Shots is here. If you are one of those names that I just called, you better spam my name in chat. More vocals. Where's this going? Interesting. Something about this rhythm is not gelling. What's the rhythm? What's happening? Okay, we're 1 minute 9 and 20 seconds in, and the movement rhythm is just like switching every 5 seconds. Feel here. This sets up a bit of a tempo, and then the bass comes in. Dum, dum, dum. So like you gotta pick one. It's the offbeat rhythm. Boom, da, da, boom, da, da. No, then we switch to 2 and 4. Why? And then it's offbeat, and it's just not locking it. I think it could work. I just think it's not like quantized, so it's kind of falling apart. All right, moving on. I see you, White Whisker. And then this guitar is falling off the rhythm chain as well. So, like, all these things matter. And this says it's an older track from 2020 that's been revamped. I would have rather you not taken the... What I assume happened is you took the project file, opened it, and like tweaked some things. What I would have rather you done is just taken the demo, listened to the demo, and recreated it with your skills in 2022. I think the use of vocals is really interesting. And they're making these beautiful harmonies and chords. But the rhythmic elements just throw it off. Here it's starting to solidify, actually. But again, it is that beginner tendency of like, oh, I'm going to do 2 and 4, and then I'm going to switch to offbeats, and then I'm going to do 2 and 4 for an irregular amount of time, and then I'm going to do offbeats. It's like, stop. Just make it sound good. Sometimes our heads are stuck in technique and not asking ourselves, does it sound good? And then, like, that's also distracted me from the other mixing elements. Like, has there been a bass? Yeah, there's a bass. Okay. But the elements are not mixing together that well. But the strength of this is the a cappella vocal thing for sure. Lean into that more and just go stay steady with your rhythms and things like that. Like, this is a nice piece of music here when it gets simpler and more straight ahead. Needs some compression. Well, and like, what kind of track is this? What do you want the listener to feel? You know, strong elements, but then just foundationally not solid. Yeah, the dual vocal is sick. I think it's like female vocal against male vocal, unless it's just the same vocal tweaked. It even sounds like the guitar is cool too. So like, I come back to the idea of like, if the drums were gone, it might sound 100 times better. I don't know what this reminds me of, but it's got like early 2000s, like indie movie, like almost Sufjan Stevens kind of vibe, which is cool. Bon Iver vibes, like, yeah, almost like a Bon Iver vibe, but like leaning more towards pop. So there's something really cool happening here. Just refine it even more. That melody. And I saw somebody saying like, I can't really understand what the vocals are saying. I don't think you're supposed to. And this is good. And you know why it's good? Because it's simplified. There's less things happening. So, you know, here's the metaphor for what I think this track is. You know when you're working on a puzzle and you're not done with the puzzle, you're not even close to done, but you have little like vignettes of different parts of the puzzle. Like if it's like an outdoor scene with a cabin and trees and a river, it's like you've got a bit of the cabin assembled, you've got a bit of this section of trees assembled, and you've got a bit of the river assembled, but it's not coming together as a full puzzle yet. That is what this track is, in my opinion. Keep working, Kamikaze shots. Addie. Oh, hens. Sorry, I didn't see it. Let's try this Instagram post. Hens, I already liked this beat. Oh. Sorry guys, this is but a bit louder, but it's on Instagram, so I can't control. Hens. I think I saw this today.
Who came up with that stupid arrangement?
Beetober vibes, exactly. Hear how the harmony is doing like slightly unconventional things here. Oh, it ended. The harmony kind of diverts from the pattern. It diverts from being like strictly diatonic, but it still sounds good. But there's not a lot of bunch of other bullshit happening too. It's like steady, chill hip hop beat. The mood is established. Then it starts to deviate a little. Good introduction of the vocal. Really well done.
Who came up with that stupid arrangement?
I think it's fun. Nicely done, hens. Go give a follow if you did enjoy that. Why did you split it into two? And with that, the way the harmony shifted,
Yeah.
with that more melodic minor
sometimes.
thing happening, the melody also shifted with it. Things to pay attention to. Really good sampling. And I'm also just going to shout out the artist who created the sample pack, I think. I don't really understand because a lot of this is in Spanish. But this artist, she's really, 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 really good. She just got a SP404 Mark II. This is like free shout out, but I've been following her for a while, so. Get ready. Just smooth vibes all around, and then also like playing guitar and shit like that. Needs more recognition for sure. Alright, we're running long, so I'm gonna just feel good vibes up here. So good. Go give a follow. Antonella. Please. Just over 10K, deserves more. Very, very talented artist. All right, just want to shout that out. Hens, I'm glad you submitted that. Thank you for your first time submitting over here. My mouse is gonna die. Joe said next year, Beattober 24-hour live from Korea. I think I'm down for it. Gotta get fiber internet, though, is the question. Addie.
It's 4 a.m.
More vocals. Jeremy Zucker vibes. Addie, is it you singing?
But I can never let that show. I'll play it cool now, but I'll ring you later. I never had the patience to give you more time. Cause when I see your face on my phone, I can never let that go. I fell asleep on my sofa. Are you coming over?
Very good.
There's so much in my head that I want you to know. Maybe we could dive in the deep end. Show me ways to love if I don't know how. We could fall apart on the weekend, but I don't really care cause I feel this now. Oh, my life.
This is giving huge MySpace vibes in a good way.
Now I think I know what matters. If it's not you, I can't be with someone. I don't wanna feel incomplete in my life, so I'll put my heart on the line. Cause I don't wanna waste more time. I fell asleep on my sofa. Are you coming over? There's so much in my head that I want you to know. Maybe we could dive in the deep end. Show me ways to love if I don't know how. We could fall apart on the weekend, but I don't really care cause I feel this now. Oh, my life I've wasted time. Now I think I know.
Rocket to the moon. That's the reference. Definitely not Death Cab. I assume you're a Jeremy Zucker fan.
Maybe we could dive in the deep end. Show me ways to love if I don't know how. We could fall apart on the weekend, but I don't really care cause I feel this now. Oh, my life I've wasted time. Now I think I know what matters. And I try, but we can't make it through.
Nice guitar melody.
And I try,
Good. Really, 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 really good. Nice job. I have one mixing note for you, and it has to do with the vocals in the chorus. First, let's go back and listen to the verse.
Fell asleep on my sofa, are you coming over?
The verse vocals sound very nicely compressed, very even.
I want you to know. Maybe we could dive in the deep end.
The chorus vocals, however, sound like there's... First of all, they sound much louder, but they sound less compressed, meaning that some of the louder articulations are popping out more.
Maybe we could dive in the deep end.
Like that word dive pops out a lot.
Don't know how we could fall apart on the weekend.
I just think a little more compression to solidify those chorus vocals. And then there was a moment. Yep, that's exactly it. These vocals are so in front. And then here, it drifted off, and it doesn't sound intentional. Like I'm straining to, because I'm just following along with the vocal, and then all of a sudden it drops in volume. So maybe just pay a little closer attention to that. Nice. Please keep us posted on your mixtape, because this sounds really, really good. Like I said, MySpace vibes. The thing that I think makes this really good to me, if you listen to like a Jeremy Zucker song or like Chelsea Cutler or like anybody in that sort of genre, the production is like so clean, so good, right? Like just sounds like professional studio. Lauv, same thing. This has an indie sensibility to it where the production isn't as clean or as quote unquote professional, but the bedroom producer sound, the bedroom pop producer sound specifically, I think is really good aesthetically. Something about it, and that could just be my own nostalgia for like the days of like MySpace, but I really like that. It's hard to describe for people who are not like into like MySpace and like emo music at that time, but this captures it really well. Good job. Thank you for submitting that track as a first-time submission. Who Robot? Are you in chat? I assume yes, because you submitted just now. We're about to dance to this one. And then I have to jump back up to somebody's track. Who did I skip up here? Make yourself known. Dun, 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 dun. Are a bit louder than everything, right? Really clean. There's this like pluck thing happening in the background that can come up a bit. I like that. It's like vocal. Oh, this is it? I felt like there needed to be a whole nother half of that song. I guess the drums are not too loud. There's this really faint, plucky thing in the background. I want it to come out more. Yeah, when the snare rolls happen is when I feel the dynamics in the drums are kind of odd. I think finding a vocal is what this person needs. Like it needs that top line melody, you know? Thank you, Who Robot, for that submission. Not much change in the drop. Well, yeah, it doesn't have much like variation. I mean, it definitely grows and expands, and I like the energy that comes here, but I would assume there'd be another half of the track where that evolves even more. Thank you. Peace and love. Of course, Quentin Lee, this is your last call. Gemini, last call. Dotkey, this is your last call. White Whisker is here. I was ready to delete it entirely, burn my computer, and cut my ears off while working on it. Well, I'll let you know if you should do that. White Whisker, you gotta write your YouTube name in the thing, even if your YouTube name is this. The kick is leaning left. Get that kick down the center. So far, the arrangement is not bad. Call for your computer to be burnt and your ears cut off. I think this is a fine little track. I don't know what your major issues were with it that made you hate it so much. Sometimes it's worth just stepping away. If anything, that main keyboard, that main keyboard could be mixed a little bit better because it's sitting a little heavy. You got to get it out of the way of the bass. Get rid of some of those mids, I think. Low mids. It's nice. It's a simple little beat. Like, be intentional with this arrangement, though. You do have a very clear intro. Like, first verse C kind of thing. Then it goes into the more mellow section, which is like your bridge. And then it ends on a big hook. Is there something you can do? Good introduction of that vocal melody. Is there something else you can do here? Maybe an offbeat open hat. Something to bring a little more energy to this end. Maybe not necessarily what I just said, but one more thing that brings a little more energy to the end. Well, this is not a bad track. If you released this and submitted it to the playlist, I would probably put it on the playlist. It's okay to have a nice, short, simple, little lo-fi track. It's totally fine. Good job, White Whisker. All right, good job, everybody. Sorry we couldn't get to these people that are not present, but as you know, rules is rules. We're coming right up on 3 hours, which is pretty much where we want to be. Everybody say hey in the chat. Now, does everybody see the nodders is my question? Heard you for working on mix and EQ and switching up the second piece. Thanks, man. That's going to be it for today. This was a great track review. Good timing. Thank you to everybody who came through. Thank you to everybody who submitted a track. You guys are getting better and better. Take my advice or don't take it. Take it with a grain of salt if you want. Of course, it's your creative vision, your creative execution. If you feel strong conviction on a creative idea, you should not listen to anybody and you should go forward. But what I try to get at the most is sometimes people make creative decisions that they don't have strong conviction on. They make those decisions because their knowledge is limited, because it's all they know how to do, because they just tried it and it was random, etc. That is the stuff that I'm trying to push you all away from and be more intentional with your music production. Come out, pull yourselves out of amateur land. Like I said, the most frustrating thing for me is when the track is 90% great and you just sprinkle a 10% of shit in it. How come that one doesn't work? It was my first day. It was fun. I'm glad Hens Beats. If some of you just joined today, thank you so much for joining, supporting the channel. We do these once per month, usually the second Saturday of every month. We're going to try to get back on track with that in April. There will be no stream next Thursday. We usually stream every Thursday, but there will be no stream this coming Thursday because I will be in Boston doing a talk at Berkeley and visiting family while I'm there, of course. And, you know, with peace and love, if it's okay with all of you, I released a video on Tuesday and we're doing the stream today. I probably won't have an upload tomorrow, if that's okay with you. No, we usually do uploads on Sundays, but I did upload on Tuesday. But I'm going to try to work to make sure there's an upload next Sunday. No more copy pastas. We need heavy metal. Not hard rock, but heavy metal. That's it. Gonna enjoy the rest of my Saturday. I'm probably not gonna do this today, but I've been playing Elden Ring, popping up a little bit for members. Some members have been joining and having a good time watching me play. That's been fun. I played offline yesterday and I felt like I made a lot more progress. I'm in this new area in Raya Lucaria, so I might stream for members maybe in this coming week or something. So, peace and love, peace and love. That's going to be it. It's the Joe Show now. Stream at Korea-friendly times. Well, how about everybody just list their location and I'll schedule a stream for the ideal time for everybody in the chat. All right? How about that? I'll be on your schedule. It doesn't matter because I'm coming to Korea anyway. So I'll be forced to stream at Korea-friendly times. Thank you, Addie. Addie, great work. Keep us posted. Everybody, if you make improvements to your tracks or if I was like, dang, can't wait till you release this track or whatever, keep us posted. The Discord is a great place. Please do not post your music links anywhere other than the track review submissions and don't submit until I call for more submissions again. But there's a share your music thread just for that. If you want to hang out in general, hang out, do it. Everybody's very nice. For the most part. All right, that's going to be it. I need something to drink. I need a beverage. Peace and love, peace and love. You all have been great. Nightbot just posted the community playlist. So if you want to listen to more music from the community, go on Spotify. If you have a lo-fi track and you just joined, check out the playlist first, make sure it fits, but go to the Spotify playlist tab, then go to the form at the top, and you can submit your Spotify links. That's all. See y'all next time. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been TAETRO. Oh, and by the time we stream next, which won't be next week, but the week after, we'll have new starting and ending animations. So stay tuned for that. That's all. This has been TAETRO. Have a good one.